everyone, welcome to Steampunk Reviews. I hope you like the new intro. Obviously there's been a bit of a delay. Why is that, you ask? You said you were going to bring them out faster. Well, in this case, it was mostly because my opinion of the topic at hand keeps changing. The topic at hand, for those who don't know, is the movie Cowboys and Aliens. And the reason it keeps changing is because when I first saw it, I thought it was the greatest thing ever, and continued reevaluation has kind of changed my opinion. Now, obviously, just basic plot. The movie is exactly what it says on the tin. You have cowboys, you have aliens. Specifically, you have Daniel Craig, who wakes up with an alien device strapped to his arm, and he discovers his wife is missing, and he's a bandit, and he has no memory, and it's this never-ending commotion of, I don't know who I am, I must figure it out, I guess let's go board that alien spaceship. Obviously, as you can see, that's the issue that I have here, is the movie tends to be not intentionally vague, it really isn't, but at the same time, it doesn't have the cohesive action movie spirit, if you will. The mood keeps changing, you keep introducing new characters late in the story, you have all of these, it's not really twists, it's just, okay, throw these guys in, throw those guys in. Apparently, the movie is based off a comic book, so maybe that's where it's coming from, that in fact the comic book is much longer and fleshes things out more, so there's more room for these characters, but in the movie, it doesn't really work. Or at least, it just, again, you wind up with it's this frigging it's everyone. Everyone's there. You have Civil War heroes, you have Indians, you have gangsters, and you have Daniel Craig, and on top of that, speaking of Daniel Craig, the movie has this bizarre cast. When I mean bizarre, I mean, I don't have anything against a bizarre cast. Sometimes you have those and they work out perfectly, i.e. Repo the Genetic Opera. Who would have thought that Giles and, the girl from Spy Kids, and Ogre, and everyone else, and Paris Hilton, for God's sake, would all be able to work in a movie. On the other hand, in Cowboys and Aliens, you have James Bond, Harrison Ford, the one guy from Law and Order SVU, and 13 from House. And I suppose, there may be some other actors who I'm missing there, but again, you can kind of see this slew of individuals is not, unlike, in Rape of the Genetic Opera, where the characters in which they're playing are very dynamic, and the craziness of the casting works there. Here, the cast is so broadly put together, it doesn't really have that effectiveness. On top of that, again, like I said, the plot is very long-winded and adds a lot of different characters over its course, and, it leaves you unsatisfied. There are a couple of separate things, spoiler alert. The character 13, the actress, or whatever, I don't know. I'm just gonna call her 13 because, honestly, her character might have a name, but it's not her real name regardless, and the reason it's not her real name is it turns out she's an alien. Okay, fine, dandy. She mentions that this isn't her natural form. Now that, of course, for anyone who has ever seen a movie or read a book, anytime you say, this isn't my real form, basically, this is an invitation to show us your real form. When people don't do that, sometimes this works. There have been occasions where leaving it to the mystery of the imaginations of the audience is effective. However, in this particular case, it just adds to, again, this whole vague, we threw it in there because because we wanted to. It doesn't really add anything, because, for all we know, if they just said that, my people look like your people, I would be good with that. I'd be good with the idea that this, that she is in fact an alien, but the very fact that you mention, oh, this is not my real form, it's like, and then never show it, it's just kind of frustrating. Why did you even bother? So there's that. There are some good things. However, I do have to say that the aliens are very, very interesting. They're very, they manage to steer clear of both the xenomorph trope to a certain degree, and the Greys trope on the other end of the spectrum. They kind of fall neatly in the middle. They're humanoid, so we don't have, again, this isn't xenomorph, this isn't, Predator is admittedly human-looking, but at the same time, Predators are actually more human. They fall closer down that scale. They're big, they're scary, they've got extra limbs, they've got these weird heads, which is probably they're incredibly tough. The end result is ultimately the end result is very effective, as opposed to, again, everyone, I think I can say this, everyone is sick of the little gray people. No one cares about them. They're annoying. At the same time, however, the xenomorph trope is, it's used, well, it's not that it's used too much, but the thing is, it's so iconic to the Alien films that using it otherwise gets boring. So, or, it's obviously ripped off. So they managed to balance that, and I do have to say that while most of the other characters are very meh, Daniel Craig's character, whose name also completely escapes me at the moment, he's very effective in his character. He's got a good accent, and he looks really good in his costume. Okay, yes, this is a female bias, but again, his character, he's kind of like Neo in The Matrix. He doesn't really have to do all that much. He just has to stand there and look good for the ladies and move the plot forward. It really doesn't require a lot of forethought. So ultimately, do I say see it? I'd say, see if you can rent it on Netflix. I don't think that it's really worth buying. Honestly, I mean, probably soon enough someone will just rip all the clips of Daniel Craig and stick them on YouTube, and for us ladies, that's all we really want to see. And, maybe they'll also rip the clips of the alien combat, because that's also pretty cool. But, aside from that, just don't really bother. I mean, if you really liked it, sure, fine, but, if you really like it, what I'm saying doesn't really matter. So yes, that's all for that. Next week is my special Halloween episode. I will be reviewing Don't Be Afraid of the Dark and Blackwood's Guide to Dangerous Fairies. The first time I've done a double episode in a very long time, possibly. I think the only one I ever did was at the very beginning. Or, no, there was one other, but that's, a blast from the past, ladies and gentlemen. So, this will be coming out next week at some point. Hope to see you all then. Ta!